final shape is just around the corner to the delight of gamers and their girlfriends everywhere. I know, assuming Destiny players have girlfriends is a stretch, but the very few that do are most likely annoying their partners. Many a date has been ruined by distracted guardians scribbling endlessly on cocktail napkins, desperately number crunching the best DPS for Pantheon Rolk. I may be assuming too much. No Destiny players had time to even speak to a girl, let alone share a bottle of wine since Pantheon dropped in game. And in the rare case that a girl is watching this, don't lie, you don't speak to other girls either. As we all know, there are two things Destiny players are scared of: girls and grass. Why do you think gamers say GG so much? They are expressing their fears. Before I get into the video, I'd like to take a moment and thank everyone who has been watching my videos and supporting my growth over here on YouTube. For those of you who do not know me, I have been the most popular lore creator for Destiny on TikTok for these last 3 years, and one of the very first Destiny creators on that app. Bungie even recognized me and interviewed me earlier this year. And myself and my editor, Poifet, have been working really hard these last 6 months trying to grow my YouTube page. So if you are enjoying my content, please subscribe. My goal has been to reach 10,000 subs before Final Shape. I'm not sure if that exactly will happen, but either way, I'm very thankful for your support. And if you need more people to play with, I have an entire Discord filled with around 10,000 gamers that can help you get through more end and mid-game content. Do you still need that exotic weapon? We got you. With Final Shape, the seasons will be removed from the game forever, and gone the stories we have played this year. Who cares, right? I mean, we have all the facts we need. Witness bad, Guardian good, Elsie Bray thick. That's really all we need as motivation to keep playing. But let's take some time and go over the major story beats of the season's exotic missions and dungeons for the year of Lightfall. Even though it's not really a year, it's really a year and a half. It's been a long season. Season of Defiance came and went, and when it finished, not a single person completely understood what the f just happened. Earth was dry docked by Cabal clones who started kidnapping humans and Elysians alike. Why, you might ask? Great question. No one knows. Not once in the entire season or after was it ever explained why the Cabal rounded up humans like they were practicing being dog catchers. There's no way an important character would randomly die in such a confusing season with less story than a coloring book, right? Well, that's exactly what happened.
It's gone into lockdown.
We're trapped.
I'm on it. Come on.
Go. Now. We are through. The hatch leads outside. We are safe.
That's all that matters.
Amanda Holliday, who by the way we meet in Destiny 1 before we even meet Cade, was turned into a chicken nugget. But it's okay that she died because it gave Aramis one more chance to try to convince us she wasn't a bad person. Shoehorned once again into a potential redemption arc, Aramis warned Mithrax to stop us from fighting back. Of course, she could have just, told us directly there were bombs, but all she gave after Amanda's internal organs were being splattered on the walls was a nice, I told you so, and then dipped out. I'm sure such an impactful scene that resulted in a beloved character dying wouldn't be the very last time we ever see Aramis. Spoiler for later, it is. During Season of the Defiance, we were given the exotic mission Avalon, the most hated exotic mission to grace our mission nodes. Diving deep into the Vex Network, we find an old friend, Asher. For newer Guardians, Asher was the vendor for the moon Io, who was eventually turned into a Vex and disappeared. Every once in a while, a Harpy would show up blinking in Morse code, showing us that he was still alive and aware. After years of Asher Mir's return being teased, I'm sure we were going to rescue him from the Vex Network. Nope, Asher pushed himself deeper and deeper into the Vex Network, seeing that every single prediction ended at the final shape being invoked. Due to how deep he was, eventually he was assimilated into the greater Vex Network, ceasing to exist. But in typical Asher fashion, his final words were cursing us and everyone else because he was right all along, and everyone was too dumb to understand his greatness. Season of the Deep dropped and Guardians everywhere were hopeful for a much better story. Ultimately, they were disappointed. Titan returned and so did our old friend Salome, but she was different. She was partially taken and made friends with an ancient fish who could tell us the witness's backstory. That was stretched into 7 weeks of do we trust Salome since she's partially taken, and random character expositional conversations. Like, do we really need to know what drink the Drifter had in the Dark Ages when he met Saladin? Could have been a lore page. But one thing we all learned was a Guardian can become taken. This was something previously thought impossible by lore nerds like myself. The ancient fish, Asha, and her large eyeballs stared at us for weeks while we learned she isn't actually a fish, but a worm. Go figure. In fact, the hive worm gods are her brothers, sisters, cousins, baby daddies, etc. They were all once like her before the witness corrupted them to darkness. Between piecing together vague sentences from Asha while we waited for the big reveal, Oryx returned. Sort of. In the Ghosts of the Deep dungeon, we were treated to Sonic Underwater Simulator and Zevo Wrath crying. Right, yeah, that's what I said. She cried. The God of War missed her brother, which was, kind of touching. In Savathun's absence, the Lucent Hive took to being naughty and tried to infuse necromancy into a ghost to resurrect the Taken King. Bad news for the Hive because they chose to do this in the middle of a methane ocean and not a very small puddle of water. As we all know, even a toe in water will cause spontaneous death, but methane, and large amounts of it, we are immune to apparently. We stopped the Hive, and some other Guardians later on in lore had arguments over whether we should forklift Oryx's dead body back to the tower and keep it for study in the vault. The big reveal that we had all been waiting for Asa eventually came, and it was a cutscene that was leaked at the beginning of the season, so everybody already knew, but it was the witness's origin, and that they were all once a civilization that decided to, glue themselves together into one being.
Before you can confront the witness, you must understand it. The witness's first victims were once like you, struggling for survival, bolstered by hope, until their hopes became reality. They called it the Gardener, their deity of life. It ushered them into a golden age. For eons they prospered. But their newfound god never spoke to them. It lavished them with gifts, but not with guidance. And though they lived in paradise, they came to crave a greater purpose. They desired meaning, structure, a winnower, to shape the garden. Their scholars discovered that the Gardener shared a connection with another entity among the stars. They called it the Veil, and when they found it, they arrived to claim it. They already knew much about the light, how it could bend the laws of the universe and create life. But they came to realize that it could bring ruin just as easily. The cosmic events it set in motion could wipe out entire civilizations in a heartbeat, without reason. And so they saw the light, not as a source of prosperity, but of unfettered chaos. By studying the Veil, they came to know the darkness. A power that was shaped by thought and consciousness. And in the darkness, they found the means to carve away the chaos of existence, to calcify it into a final shape. Eternal and perfected. They brought the Veil back to the Gardener in an attempt to strengthen their connection. There, they could reshape reality itself. The gardener would not allow it, and so it fled their world. But they would not be deterred. Having witnessed the truth in the darkness, they used its binding power to merge themselves into the salvation they craved. Thus began the Witness's pursuit. Its campaign to impose meaning on a meaningless universe. One that is nearly at its end.
A few weeks after the seasonal story ended, we were given an exotic quest that would lead us to a mission 3 weeks later. Xivu Arath wanted to test us to see if we were worthy of the god of war. So of course she sent us fishing. That's right. To truly test the might of a guardian when fighting, we must first test our will to live after not catching 3 exotic fishes after 200 casts. For those of you who were lucky or no life did, a new path opened up in this season activity which took us to a sunken pyramid at the bottom of Titan's ocean. Once we defeated the Tormentor boss, Xivu Arath fell in love with us. Seriously, she admired our strength and maybe even wanted, to kiss. Our Minecraft beds were for sure getting pushed together that day. Then finally, a good story season dropped. Season of the Witch. Savathun was teased for 7 weeks while Eris became a hive god herself. Eris's transformation brought the greatest question ever plagued the Destiny community. Are 3 meaty toes better than 10 normal human toes? Is it the quantity of the toes or the girth that matters most? NASA scientists that were brought in couldn't even give us a satisfying answer, just too many variables. But just like Season of the Deep, trust issues became a focal point of the story. Do we trust Eris not to go full Dark Future Hive God and make us all slaves? Do we trust that Amaro is relaying Savathun's goals properly? Do we even trust bringing Savathun back to life will solve our problems? To be honest, we don't really need more guns. Like vault all the guns and just give us free passes to therapy. For 7 weeks, we act as Eris's servants, feeding her hive tributes so that she could be big and strong, while also cutting off Xivu from gaining more strength. She succeeded, and upon Savathun's revival, sliced her neck and became the strongest hive god in the history of all the hive. Oryx, sit the down. We got Eris now.
Eris, I've arranged the transmat, but once she's here, we'll lose containment. We can't go back on this one.
One last atrocity.
This wasn't the agreement. Xivu is still a threat.
Do it! You will not have another chance!
Eris Morn. Finally out of her shell. It looks good on you, honey.
I am your ruin.
Savathun has not been killed by a hive since she lost her worm. Stored eons of potent lies and deceit.
All Savathun's power, plus the tithes of the Guardians.
Eris Morn is the strongest hive there has ever been.
Hear me, dead things. I let this moment pass unnamed, without song. This is the rejection of your sad legacy. Xivu Arath, agitator, fomenter, what a world cyst you have built from your conquests. No more. Now and forever, you are banished. Hyot.
Using her newfound hive god powers, she made Zivarath homeless and probably very welcoming in San Francisco. Cutting off her from her own throne world, Savathun left one more trick up her sleeve, or rather, on the back of her wing, an Ahamkara wish, leading us directly into Season of the Wish. And not just any wish, a wish that will let us follow the witness inside the Traveler. Riven returns, and with that round 3 of trust issues, Mara and a crackpot team of Techions brought Riven back to the plane of the living with space magic and quality fashion. This is the final season right before Final Shape. I wonder what kind of story we will receive. If you're guessing becoming a nanny mixed with baby daddy drama, then you would be correct. Riven will not help us until we find all her missing eggs that have been lost and baby napped. To no one's surprise, this takes 7 weeks. The final egg is extra lost though, and we have to go deep inside a secret area of the Black Garden where we find Riven's mostly dead baby daddy. We are treated to this long cutscene about the history of Riven and her baby batter donor. Now remember when I said earlier I hope Aramis doesn't just disappear after causing a major character death, and spoiler, she does? Well, in a lore page from this season, she just leaves the solar system. In a lore page. After all of the will they, won't they, like, redemption arc, which she never deserved a redemption arc. She basically shrugs her shoulders and rethinks her life like the coward she always was. But now we have all Riven's eggs, and it's time to enact the final wish and send the most equipped guardian through the portal, someone who has defeated gods and survived jumping puzzles on the sides of space stations and, oh no, we're sending Crow. Yeah, that's right, Crow is the first person leading the charge to fight the witness. Why, you might ask? Why are we sending a guardian who has never fought anything? Because of the power of love or something? You see, Mara and Crow share a bond, and for some reason we are able to use that bond to then open the portal for everyone else to fly through. Currently, as I'm making this video, things might change. I believe there is like a final mission that will most likely come out after this video gets posted. But currently we are just kind of waiting for Mara and Crow to tingle and tell us their bond is fully charged or something. But that doesn't mean the story is over till Final Shape. No way. You see, Guardians decided to accept gifts from terrorists. That's right. If you played during Guardian games and are rocking the free skimmer, that gift was from a terrorist organization that they want to overthrow the whole government and take over the city. But then the witness decided we were getting too close and attacked the last city directly. Shax unvaulted a bunch of weapons that he had deemed too dangerous and sent us out to help defend areas that had been under siege by the witness's troops. Shax was still not satisfied, so using Vex tech, he built simulations. Whisper exotic mission returned, then 0 Hour mission returned. He felt we needed even more training, so he put together a simulation of old raid bosses, but felt the old versions was way too easy, so he made serious changes to test our resolve. And that's pretty much the entire year of Lightfall. As sarcastic as I was about this year, I do have high hopes for the year of Final Shape. And I know that there was a lot of anger this past year, and this is something, I didn't write this in script, so like this is me just talking freely right now. But this was one of the best years when it came to actual activities. The story may have been lackluster. The story may have been mostly filler. And as a story creator myself, that was very, very frustrating at times. And there was a lot to look down upon when it came to the year of Lightfall. But we have to all admit that gameplay-wise, the game was in one of the best states it's ever been. Deep dives, one of the greatest activities, like one of the most fun activities they've ever put in game, and my favorite activity from this entire year. Both activities from Season of the Witch were fun, and we got a cool puzzle with the Embaro engine. Coil, I'm gonna be honest, I know a lot of people like Coil. I got burnt out by Coil by like week 3 or 4. It was just shoved in our faces so much with Riven's Lair, and which was just like a section of Coil. Then I personally just didn't enjoy it for a while. After I took a break and came back, I enjoyed it a lot more. But still, we got more rewards from that activity than all other activities combined. So there is merit in that. Warlord's Ruin, probably the greatest dungeon we currently have in game. And Ghost of the Deep is not a bad dungeon. It's just the spaces in between. The water part is just such a slog and boring that it kind of makes it just not fun to run. But I love both boss encounters, especially the first boss. The first boss is so much fun. So I'm saying that, and like I said, I know I was very sarcastic. This video was just supposed to be fun and goofy, while also summarizing this entire year. But it's very easy in the Destiny community to look at the negative. You see negativity all the time. Content creators just saying and harping on all the bad things, just hyping up the toxic base of the community. You see it on Twitter, no matter what happens. Whatever Bungie posts, there's people begging for free stuff or just hating on the game. And I understand that sometimes it's hard to stay positive about Destiny. This has been a very, very rough year for us, for all of us, in many, many ways. But I have serious high hopes for after Final Shape. Final Shape is going to be amazing. It's going to be a banger. And I do believe that this episodes are going to knock it out of the park. At least this first one. We'll see. I'm cautiously optimistic about every episode after the first one, because I think Bungie knows they have to have this first season very good. We'll see what happens with the second and the third. Thank you all for watching this video, and a special thank you to my best Muffin and Above members, Pulse, Prince Mav, Son of a Mitch, and a thank you to my VIP Discord members, Puddles, Amid, Broken Pebbles, Away Galaxy, Pulse, Quick Draws, Sir Hobbit, and SYNJ. And if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, like, and comment. And remember, hunters never die.
Hunters never die. Hunters never die. No, hunters never die. Hunters never die. No, hunters never die.